District Court?
Yes.
We're located at Knapp in the Beltline.
Yes.
We have your case scheduled for today at 1:30, and I hadn't heard from you and wondered what was going on. I just got your telephone number from the City of Cedar Springs representative, Ms. DeGroot.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Are you familiar with this ticket for failing to maintain the exterior of the building, that property that was the Roundup Tavern?
Yes, I wasn't until I got the court paper in the mail.
Yeah. The ticket was written on the 25th of August. Were you?
I'm sorry. I guess they sent it to my old address, so I never received it.
Is the Westbrook Drive address where you live now?
No.
Westbrook Drive is the old address?
That is correct, and I sent it.
What's the new address, Mr. Julst?
It's 2843 Meadow Bluff Drive.
2843 Meadowbrook?
Bluff, B-L-U.
Oh, Meadow Bluff?
Yep.
Where is it?
It's in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, what direction?
Northwest.
And is there a zip code?
49504.
Okay, do you spell your last name J-U-L-S-T?
No, it's J-O-S-T.
Just J-O-S-T?
That is correct.
And you say it like Jost?
That is correct.
Oh, I was saying it wrong then. Okay, my bad. Listen, Mr. Jost, who is the Cedar Tie LLC? Is that you? Is that you with your family, or what is that?
Well, it wasn't my partner, but he backed out of it.
He's not involved anymore, so it's just you?
Yeah, so now it's on me, and I put the building up for sale.
Okay.
Because I have a sick child, and I can't deal with it.
Uh-huh. I wanted to ask about the ticket you got August 25.
Yep.
I mean, it goes back a while now because today's the 13th of October. Is your idea just to sell it and have the new guy take over whatever they're going to do?
Yes, but I plan on paying that ticket. I want it to be the first ticket. And
well, you admit that there's a problem with the exterior of the building, true?
With the weeds.
Well, not so much the weeds. We're talking about the physical structure of the building.
And I disagree with that because they inspected the building when I bought it and I had a problem with it. And,
who's they?
well, I don't know, the building inspector out there.
Why would the building inspector have to inspect your building to buy it?
We hired the inspector to inspect the building before we purchased it.
That's got nothing to do with the City of Cedar Springs, does it?
To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want the same inspector.
Okay, now I don't mean to cause a problem, but if you got the ticket August 25, have you ever called anyone to find out what's going on it? Because the hearing is today, and we've got people on Zoom right now from the city that are prepared to give testimony that the exterior of the building is in disrepair, windows are problematic, the ramp is problematic, the exterior physical portion of the building, we're not even talking about the inside. And all I want is compliance. I need to have compliance, whether you sell that or whether you don't. How long have you owned it?
I'm not exactly sure, maybe 2 years.
Well, my reason for calling was to get a hold of you, which I was successful at. Normally, no judge is going to call some guy on the phone on the day that he has his hearing to find out what's going on. But I couldn't understand why you hadn't zoomed in or connected. Knowing that the paperwork was sent to the Westbrook address, that may give us some explanation, of why you aren't here. But it doesn't help me at all with the explanation of what you were planning on doing with this ticket. Because now it's been coming up on 2 months and nothing's happened.
And I didn't know about the ticket until recently.
So when did you find out about the ticket?
like last week, and when I went out to the building. I called Louise, tried to clean up it, and I mean the building has not. It's not. I mean, I painted it. I mean, last year the outside on the structure. I had somebody come out and look at the ramp, and they said it's structurally sound, which the city says it's not for some reason. I don't understand.
Well, maybe, what, are you in the middle of some, go ahead.
I know it's not the most beautiful building. I replaced the siding on it when the wind blew it off. So,
Yeah, well, the siding went over the brick and the siding came down.
yes, and I replaced that.
Do you work outside the home?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever reached out to the city of Cedar Springs, either to Ms. Deborah DeGroot, their inspector?
I did talk to her a couple times. I sent her a message, email, I sent her a letter because what I heard was they call it an abandoned building, so every month I'm supposed to pay on it. Well, I prepaid on it, and then, I don't know, it fell behind. So then I sent an email, or wrote her a letter telling her that, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it lapsed. I repaid it. I told her the building was up for sale.
Well, it doesn't sound like you're having much success at selling it. What's holding up? Haven't found a buyer.
Yeah, well, I had a couple potential buyers just a couple weeks ago.
Well, the predicament that we're in is, if I didn't call you, if I hadn't called you just now, I'd just be defaulting you on this ticket. You'd have to pay a fine. But separate from the fine, you've got to be in compliance. I need you to be in compliance with the property, whether you sell it or not. I mean, if you sold it tomorrow, the new guys would have to be in compliance, and, you know, we'd still want it to be in compliance. But I don't know when you're going to sell it or if you're going to sell it. And while your opinion about how the property is and the township's opinion of how the property is appears to differ, today we were going to take testimony on the exterior of the building and whether you failed to maintain it like you're supposed to. If you admit that you haven't kept it up the way you should, you're going to still have to work with the township, the city, and figure out how you're going to be in compliance. Because I don't want to wait around for you to sell it a month from now, 2 months from now, 6 months from now. Because comparatively speaking, other buildings in the area, you know, everybody's held to the same accountability, so to speak. If you're saying, no, I'm not at fault and I'm not in violation, that's what we have the hearing about. And Ms. DeGroot is on our Zoom with the attorney for the city of Cedar Springs to take testimony today. I don't know what you're in the middle of right now, or if you're in the middle of anything, but you can be on the phone and still hear all of this if that's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Because the kids' school got closed because of water break.
Oh, a water main break or something?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Ms. DeGroot, we have, do you have capacity, Mr. Jost, to hook up to a Zoom meeting?
I don't have to phone.
Okay, so you just have the phone. All right. So let's do this. We have Deborah DeGroot on the Zoom, and we have attorney Danielle Dawson. We'll first take testimony from Ms. DeGroot as to what the condition of the property is and why she made the decision to issue the ticket. Once you hear what she has to say, you're allowed to ask her any questions as well. Mr. Jost, so far, do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, Ms. DeGroot, to speak right up because I want to make sure that he can hear you from the Zoom screen. The same with you, Ms. Dawson. Ms.
Okay.
DeGroot, I'll ask you to raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna have him start, Mr. Jost, and I wanna hear if you can hear them. Go ahead, Ms. Dawson.
All right, Ms. DeGroot, can you please tell us where you're employed?
The city of Cedar Springs,
And how long have you worked for the city?
2 years.
And are you familiar with the property located at 26 South Main Street?
I am.
And how is it that you're familiar with that property?
It is part of the regular Main Street that I check through each given week.
And is that in the city?
It is.
Do you know who owns that property?
Cedar Tie LLC.
Okay, and do you know who is a member or a part of that LLC?
Mike Jost.
Okay, and to the best of your knowledge, is that individual with us today?
Yes.
Okay, so in talking about the building located at 26 South Main Street, is that property in violation of any city ordinances?
It is.
How so?
The exterior, the exterior of the building is falling apart. The siding is falling off. Some of the windows are getting to be in disrepair that had been previously painted. The ramp is in disrepair. It is also, he's been asked to remove it a couple of times because it's in the city right away. There's also a problem with the roof line where it attaches to the building going to the north, where it's in such disrepair, water is coming down into the next business.
Okay. Do you think that the condition of this building poses a health hazard?
I have not seen the inside. The exterior, given that the water is coming down into the next business, I would say so.
Okay. And have you notified the defendant about these violations?
I have.
And how did you notify the defendant?
I sent at least 3 letters that I can document to the Westbrook address. I called the number that Judge Smolenski called today at least 4 different times. I've left 2 voicemails quite a few times. I couldn't leave a voicemail because the voicemail was full.
And as we know, the address that you sent one of the letters to was the incorrect address. Did you happen to send it to any other addresses?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And when did these violations start?
Well, actually, this is the second ticket on
Okay.
this same type of violations. I've been watching this building since I began in September 2018. This particular ticket was written beginning, my investigation was May 20 of this year.
Okay, and so since May 20 until now, you've made several attempts to contact the defendant?
I have.
All right. Have you received complaints about this property?
I have.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
can
we
you
lost-
repeat that?
We lost her for a minute.
I have. Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. So just to make sure that we're clear on the record, have you received complaints about this property?
I have.
Okay, and from who?
The business directly to the north of this location at, I believe they are 30 and 33 North Main or South Main, I'm sorry. He has called me because he's having water flooding all the time.
Okay. And has the defendant made any effort to comply with either these citations or the previous ones that you have issued?
He did come in with the previous ticket. He registered his place being vacant or abandoned. He made a couple of payments. He's in arrears at this time, as far as I know. With this ticket, no, he hasn't.
He has not made any efforts to repair the outside of the building?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and when did you last confirm the property is in violation?
This morning at about 9:45.
And what was the condition of the property at that time?
It was the same as, it actually has deteriorated a little further since the beginning of this investigation.
Okay, and so what is the city asking for the court to do in this situation?
We need to have him remedy the situation, take care of the exterior of the building, particularly where it's causing such a health hazard between the buildings, emitting water and so forth. He needs to bring up the arrearages, in my opinion, of the fines. And hopefully he can sell his building.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Jost, can you think of any questions that you want to ask Ms. DeGroot?
Well, it's the first I've heard about some water issues.
Okay, to put it in the form of a question. Ms. DeGroot, have you ever told Mr. Jost about the water problems that the neighboring business was having?
I have.
Is the answer that you just said you have?
Yes.
Mr. Jost was wanting to ask, it's the first time he ever heard about any water damage. What do you recall talking to Mr. Jost about with water damage to any property?
In the first letter that started this complaint, described the water problems. I asked him to give me a call. It's also the neighboring business has tried to talk to him as well, but that person is not here.
Is it fair to say the letters you're talking about were sent to the 2701 Westbrook?
That's true.
So all the letters that you sent from the city went to 2701 Westbrook.
That's correct.
And the first you've heard about this Meadow Bluff Drive in Grand Rapids is when he identified his address on the phone just now?
That's correct.
So you made the assumption that he was getting all these letters, but you never spoke to him directly.
Correct.
Okay, what's the next question, Mr. Jost?
So I guess as a question, it's not really a question, but I went into the city and had my address changed. And
Mr. Jost is saying that he went into the city and had his address changed. Is that anything with your department, Ms. DeGroot?
That's not with my department, but I did confirm the address I'm using on Westbrook with utility billing.
And the utility billing still has it on Westbrook?
That's correct.
Is the utility billing having anything to do with the city of Cedar, or is it a separate utility?
It's the city of Cedar.
Okay. All right, any other questions, Mr. Jost?
yes, I'm not sure what the outstanding charges are for.
When you talk about the outstanding charges or arrearages, Ms. DeGroot, what are you talking about? The abandoned building costs?
That's correct.
And technically speaking, that has nothing to do with this ticket for failure to maintain exterior of the building, correct?
That's correct.
Why is there a charge when a building is abandoned?
The city has an ordinance whereby if it becomes in disrepair, it's been empty with commercial for over 180 days. It's been on the market for over 180 days, and there's other outstanding ordinance problems like we have here. I can require that owner to register their building as vacant or abandoned, and that's $50. And then each month, I believe it's another $35 for commercial for me to keep track of what's going on with that building.
Okay, so you could have an abandoned building that's not in disrepair, but it's been on the market and not sold for an extended period of time, what puts them in that category?
That's correct.
Okay, so that's what she's talking about, Mr. Jost. The fee that you pay monthly to have a building that's registered as vacant or abandoned.
Okay, another question, did she not receive the check that I paid $300 like 2 weeks ago?
He says 2 weeks ago he sent a check for $300. Do you have any verification of that, Ms. DeGroot?
That's not my department, so I would have to go ask.
But you were mentioning, Ms. DeGroot, that you thought he was in arrears. Do you know that or not?
The statement that I have, which is dated 6/15, he was in arrears $105 at that time.
So you were going by June 15 documents and you haven't caught up with that department to know what's owed right now?
Correct. I believe he also owed a large water bill. I don't know if that check went to that or not.
If he says he paid a check for $300 2 weeks ago, you're not really disputing that because you didn't look it up, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm not really focused on the money part, Mr. Jost. I get that it's important to you. She's going by documents that go back to June. So she does not have an updated what you've paid, but I'm sure we could get that from the city of Cedar. That's not so tough. But that's not really my issue of whether you should get a ticket for failing to maintain the exterior of your building.
Okay.
Any other questions you have for Ms. DeGroot?
I just needs to know exactly what she wants done, and I will get it up to par.
Okay. The ramp itself, Ms. DeGroot, you talked about disrepair with the ramp and that there were other requests made to take it down. Can you explain further what you're talking about with that? And is it a ramp that somebody like in a wheelchair would roll up?
It has stairs and it has a ramp portion to it. It is actually whoever buys the building will be requested to take that down because it's in the city right away. So, however, the city currently, if he wants to repair what's there, paint it, repair it, make sure it's in sound condition, we will go with that for now.
Is it fair to say that any communication that the city feels like they had with Mr. Jost was all either written letters sent to 2701 Westbrook or phone calls that were unanswered?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions you have, Ms. Dawson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have any other witnesses, Ms. Dawson, besides Ms. DeGroot?
No, I do not.
Mr. Jost, do you want to testify?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll ask you to raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
By testifying, it also allows Ms. Dawson, the attorney for Cedar Springs, to ask you questions once you're finished. So you're allowed to state what your position is, and then she can ask you questions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm the owner of the building at 28 Cedar Springs.
Is the address actually 28 or 26 South Main?
28.
It's 28? Yep, okay. Go ahead. And when did you become the owner? You thought it was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I don't know the exact date. I apologize.
Is your friend completely out of it?
Yes, just
Okay.
In the last 6 months.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and I know they have concerns about the building with the ramp. Mostly, from my understanding, it was the ramp. The siding fell off. I repaired it. When I went to talk to Mrs. DeGroot about the ramp, she referred me to the zoning because the step up to the building without that ramp, it's not accessible. And the ramp is, like you said, it's handicap accessible. And my original plan was to build a restaurant there. But with everything that went on with the culvert and everything, right now, I opted to put it up for sale.
Okay.
And she had some issues with some weeds and stuff. Last year, I took care of those. And honestly, I fell behind on this year with it because I didn't realize. And then a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, or last week maybe, I went out there and pulled the weeds and tried to clean the place up a little bit. But the condition of the exterior has not changed. I painted it to make it more presentable, but I mean, if there's anything I need to do, I'm more than willing to try to get it up to par.
Okay. Are you working with a realtor now to sell it?
Yes.
Does the realtor ever say anything about if you fixed it up, it could be sold better, sooner?
Well, he actually told me let's just sell it the way it is. So I asked him if I needed to do anything.
Did you talk to your realtor at all about the city giving you a ticket?
Yeah, he's aware of it, yes.
When did you become aware of the actual ticket?
Wait. Not about the ticket.
Okay.
No.
I'm asking about the ticket for the exterior of the building being in disrepair. You mentioned earlier that you thought it was a couple of weeks ago you heard about it.
I didn't know about any of the building in disrepair part, except they didn't like the ramp. That's the only thing I knew about.
So did you ever know there was a ticket in your name that said failed to maintain exterior of building?
When I got a court paper sent to me.
Yeah. And where did you get the court paper sent to you?
To my current address.
Could you repeat that?
To my current address, 2843 Meadow.
The Meadow Bluff?
Yep.
And what was the Westbrook address?
That was my old residence.
Is that a home?
Yes.
Did you ever change your address with the U.S. Postal Service?
Yes, I did.
Do you get mail at Meadow Bluff that's listed as Westbrook?
Yes, I do.
And you don't recall getting anything from the city of Cedar Springs about the building?
No.
Just a letter from the court?
Just a letter from the court.
And how long ago do you think that letter was that went to Meadow Bluff?
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
How long ago do you think it was that you got the letter from the court at Meadow Bluff? A few weeks ago?
Maybe 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay.
And then, I'm sorry, she did call me and left a message about weeds growing outside the building, and then I went out and took care of them.
Okay. All right, Ms. Dawson's going to ask you a few questions, see if you can hear her. Go ahead, Ms. Dawson.
So Mr. Jost, I apologize, but I've had a harder time hearing you. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. At what point did you receive the ticket dated August 25th?
I really wouldn't know that. I was at the U of M for a couple weeks for my son. And when I got home from the U of M, the ticket was in the mail.
Okay,
and
so
was like 3 weeks ago.
He thinks 3 weeks ago when he got home from U of M, his son was at the hospital at U of M for a few weeks. He was in Ann Arbor. So then when he got back, he said it was about 3 weeks ago.
So he did receive the ticket dated August 25th?
Yes.
Okay. And in that time, isn't it true that he did not contact Ms. DeGroot since receiving the ticket?
Do you understand the question, Mr. Jost?
I never got a ticket. I never got a ticket.
Well, what was it that came back, when you came back from Ann Arbor, what was it that you got?
The court paper.
What did the court paper say?
That there's a hearing or something that are scheduled for this hearing. That's what I got.
So you never saw a physical ticket?
I never saw a ticket.
He said he's never seen a ticket.
Okay, Mr. Jost, did you try to contact Ms. DeGroot after receiving the notice?
The court notice?
Yes.
I went to the building to see if there was an issue. No, I did not.
So you went to your building, but you did not go talk to Ms. DeGroot?
I did try to call her once, but it must have been on a Friday and they were closed, and I think it was last week. But I wrote her a letter. When I paid the arrearage, I sent a letter with it. And I put it in their slot, billing slot.
What timing are we talking with the letter that you're alleging you wrote to her?
Maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere like that.
Was that letter in response to this hearing?
Yes, well, assuming, and the letter was because I knew I probably was behind on the whatever it's called, for the building being abandoned. So I sent her a letter saying I apologize. I was out of town and I sent $300, I believe it was, to get it up to date. And
Mostly the letter he was talking about was to repay the delinquency and some of these abandoned building fees.
Okay.
And I'll note, yeah.
No further
Go ahead.
questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Jost, can you think of anything else you have to say or want to say?
No, just I need to work with it. I have been there a couple of times. I talked to her one time about the ramp.
Okay. All right, is Ms. DeGroot still on the Zoom?
I got back on, yes.
Okay, fine, we lost you for a minute.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say, Mr. Jost. Everything that the court has on your case is under the 2701 Westbrook address. We never had the Meadow Bluff until you gave it to us now. So while the mail that you got when you came back from Ann Arbor was about the hearing, that was mailed to 2701 Westbrook and would have presumably been forwarded to you at Meadow Bluff with how you handled it with the post office. I'm not doubting that you weren't sure about what the city of Cedar Springs was talking about, but it's clear to me that there was effort made and some effort by you to find out more about what you were supposed to do, but that it didn't reach the level of what we call compliance. I need the property to be in compliance. Like I said at the beginning, whether you sell it or not, and whether your realtor is of the opinion you should sell it the way it is or fix it up and sell it, I don't know. But it can't keep being the way it is because it's in violation of the City of Cedar Springs Building Ordinance Code. I'm not going to fine you today, although I do find that you're responsible for the ticket. I want you to meet with Ms. Deborah DeGroot either have a telephone conference or a meeting in person, or physically go to the property and social distance, but be there so she can show you exactly what you need to do. And it can't be something that takes forever. And we're coming up on winter. And winter is hard to get work done, particularly exterior stuff. But I would like you within the next week to make an appointment with Ms. DeGroot. I know you're busy with your work and you're busy with your son or whatever's going on, but I have to have you put some effort into this. We will start using the Meadow Bluff address, so things are mailed to you right at Meadow Bluff. And now I've got your telephone number, which I didn't have before. I'm going to set this up for another appointment. I'm going to just say like Thanksgiving time. Don't know exactly. Mid-November. Pick a date around mid-November. My clerk will contact you, Mr. Jost. Will contact you, Ms. Dawson. Will contact Ms. DeGroot for a sentencing date so that we can, one, make sure that full compliance has been met, and then talk about any of the issues regarding fines or costs. Now, I don't know the timing, Mr. Jost, of what work has to be done or how much has to be done. But I'm asking you within the next week, meet with Ms. DeGroot right at the property. Ms. DeGroot, is that something that's feasible?
That is feasible, yes.
So you guys are going to have to talk. She's got your number. Ms. DeGroot, what's your direct line number?
616-696-1330, extension 341.
Mr. Jost, do you have a pen?
616, yes, I do.
696-1330, extension 341. It's Deborah DeGroot.
Extension 341?
341.
Yep.
And you got to be in contact with her because I'm going to be talking to her about, is the property in compliance?
Yes.
That's my question I'm going to ask her when we meet again.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's going to be about 30 days out from now. So time is of the essence, Mr. Jost. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Dawson, any other questions that you have for right now?
Would you like an order, or are we just gonna wait until the sentencing hearing?
No, you can put an order in that he's responsible for the ticket and that he's gonna make an appointment within 7 days.
Okay.
And have compliance within 30.
Okay, I will get that submitted under the 7-day rule.
That's fine. Mr. Jost, if you have any other questions, you can contact the court. I'm suggesting that you talk directly with Ms. DeGroot because she's going to let us know if there's full compliance.
Okay.
All right. All right, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much, and thank you for being available, Mr. Jost, last minute. I get that there was a mix-up. We've got the Summer Bluff address now, so or Meadow Bluff, sorry, Meadow Bluff. Yeah, I said it funny. Meadow Bluff, so we're on with that. All right, I'm going to disconnect on everybody. Thank you.